In 1996, Tom Cruise accepted the mission of playing Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible, which would become one of the biggest film franchises in the world. Not just in regards to global gross, where 6 films have made $3.6 billion at the box office, but also in Cruise's adherence to doing the amazing stunt work himself for unique action authenticity, which, at $830 million spent so far, has made it one of the most expensive film franchises ever. So your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to just sit back and let us open up the dossier on the history of the television series adaptation and hear all the ways in which Cruise put himself in danger for our entertainment. Oh, don't worry, the video won't self-destruct or anything, I think. Mission Impossible unspooled 171 episodes during its television series run from 1966 to 1973. The original show was inspired by the 1964 glitzy heist film Top Copy, which emphasized the teamwork in a ragtag crew of thieves, specifically highlighting the genius use of electronics and simple objects to pull off an elaborate robbery. Like Top Copy, Mission Impossible had long stretches without dialogue, focusing on gadgetry and mechanical ways of ratcheting suspense. Originally, show creator Bruce Geller had conceived of something that sounded more like the Suicide Squad, 6 former military specialists who committed covert crimes for the common good.
The hell's wrong with you people?
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
But during the Cold War, 1960s television just wasn't ready for anti-heroes, so Geller refashioned what he called Brig Squad into the Impossible Mission Force, or IMF, with American exceptionalism and heroism put front and center. In the series, the IMF took on governments and spies from fictional places such as the European People's Republic and the Eastern Europe Republic. The opening credits sequence of a fuse being lit, set to Lalo Schifrin's original composition, was so popular that the Mission Impossible theme placed on the top 100 pop charts, the highest was number 41. In 1996, Schifrin's instrumental theme was refashioned to be more dance-oriented by U2's Adam Clayton and Larry Moulton Jr., and that version made it all the way to number 7 on the top 100 Billboard pop charts. The original series began with the character of Dan Briggs, played by Stephen Hill, but by season 2 he was replaced as the head of IMF without explanation by Jim Phelps, played by Peter Graves. The only characters who appeared throughout the entire series was the electronic whiz Barney Coulier, played by Greg Morris, and the strongman Willie Artemidge, played by Peter Lupus. Familiar faces like Martin Landau, Leonard Nimoy, Leslie Ann Warren, and Sam Elliott appeared in reoccurring roles throughout the show's run. Landau played Roland Hand, a magician and expert makeup artist dubbed the Man of a Million Faces, whose prosthetic mystique would receive homage in the elaborate masks used in the Mission Impossible film series. You might have noticed that the name Ethan Hunt was nowhere in the television series synopsis. Taking a cue from how the television series had Briggs handing over the IMF's confidential dossier and exploding voice tapes to a never-before-seen Jim Phelps, the 1996 film used an aged Jim Phelps character, played by Jon Voight, as the leader of a new team where the new character of Ethan Hunt is perceived to be the sole survivor of a mission that was meant to find a mole within the IMF. Greg Morris, Peter Graves, and Martin Landau were all invited to reprise their roles, but all refused when the various scripts revealed that the reprised television characters were either revealed to be a traitor or murdered by someone within the IMF. While the script, which was still being rewritten while filming, used this to set up Mission Impossible for a new generation, the original cast was not pleased with the direction going to an action-adventure spectacle with their characters being left behind. However, despite some cast misgivings, the first film did share technological prowess with the original series. At a time when Apple computers were close to bankruptcy, they turned to Hollywood as a final effort to promote their new PowerBook via Hollywood Films. The $15 million buy to feature their computers in Mission Impossible and a cross-promotional ad campaign was the first audience-facing deal made between Hollywood and tech. The man frequently on the computer, hacker Luther Stackel, played by Ving Rhames, is the only character other than Ethan Hunt who appears in the entire Mission Impossible film series.
Thank you for coming.
That's my job.
The updating of the opening credits music was the first hint as to how director Brian De Palma would approach bringing the film into a new era, by using the bones of the original but adding lots of modern tech wizardry. The emphasis, according to Cruise, was put on camera placement during elaborate stunts, which brought us the famous vault heist in a temperature-controlled room and concluded in an outrageous bullet train sequence. While the initial film was thrilling and immensely plotted, the move towards a colossal action spectacle officially started when John Woo, famous for Hong Kong actioners like Hard Boiled and high-concept Hollywood blockbusters like Face Off, was hired to direct the sequel. And though the bullet train sequence in Mission Impossible was heavy on CGI, the stunt with the helicopter explosion set Cruise on his own mission to make impossible action stunts more real. While Mission Impossible 2 is the only mission film with a rotten critic and audience score, it is an important shift for both the franchise and Tom Cruise. From the second film onward, action set pieces were built around a dangerous stunt that Cruise himself performs for heightened realism and seemingly to test the actor's limits. He did spend 2 years learning to fly a helicopter specifically to achieve a stunt with him in the pilot seat in Fallout.
Ethan, where are you? I'm in a helicopter.
What, you can fly a helicopter?
So let's run through one stunt mission from each of the remaining films that Cruise accepted the mission for our entertainment. Mission Impossible 2 saw Cruise getting comfortable with big stunts that would become even bigger as the series went on. Whereas jumping out of a helicopter in Mission Impossible 2 was done via green screen, just 18 years later in Fallout, Cruise would become the first actor to ever complete a halo jump on camera. One of the very first big stunts that Cruise performed in the series is in the opening credits scene where he's free solo rock climbing in Moab, Utah's Dead Horse Point State Park. Cruise did have a harness but no safety net below, and he climbed 2,000 feet. When he jumps from one rock to another, he did tear a muscle in his shoulder from the landing. The most severe injury from doing his own stunts on the series was on Fallout, where a London foot race from building to building saw Cruise breaking his foot on an awkward landing, which delayed the shoot for 9 weeks. J.J. Abrams made his feature film directorial debut on Mission Impossible 3 after David Fincher walked away due to creative differences. Cruise was a fan of Abrams' television show Alias, which Abrams had directed multiple episodes of. Abrams also picked up the pace from the first two films and brought Mission Impossible into a more Fast and Furious action era. The third installment features lots of Tom Cruise running, Tom Cruise getting thrown against cars, and landing back first on the roof of a building in Shanghai, a sequence that served as a bit of a trial run for running down the tallest building in the world in the next installment. Perhaps the most famous single sequence in the series since the first film arrives in Ghost Protocol. The sequence in question required Cruise to wear a vest harness to climb 1,700 of the 2,700 feet of the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. Then, Cruise had to fall 4 stories and then run down the side of the building before swinging off a rope. Ever since Ghost Protocol, Cruise has gone to great lengths in an attempt to outdo this stunt, with major set-piece swings in each movie, something that has his castmates in awe.
Since he hung off the Burj Khalifa, and I remember being in the audience the first night I saw it, and the sense of like, holy shit, that the audience emitted when they saw him step off that building. It was like, this is key, you know, this degree of authenticity, the fact that it's a practical stunt done by the actor, it adds a degree of tension and exhilaration that you don't get when it's done by someone else or it's done in a computer.
Rogue Nation saw Cruise embrace the continuous take approach to keying the audience that they're witnessing a practical stunt. This had Cruise trained to hold his breath underwater for 4 to 6 minutes during a pivotal underwater rescue scene. While that sequence took 10 separate shooting days to get it all in continuous, never coming up for air shots, it's the opening airplane stunt that really makes our hair stand up. A shut airplane door does not deter Ethan Hunt from completing his mission, and to open Rogue Nation, Cruise clung to the outside of a plane door that took him 1,000 feet above ground at a speed of 115 miles per hour as the actor hung to the outside and was only held in by a wire placed inside the plane.
You know, when you're on an airplane, don't you ever think, like, would it be like if you're on the wing?
No,
I mean,
I don't. And I don't think most people do.
I know. We did it 8 times. We had to do it 8 times because we had to adjust camera angle. And you know, you're gonna do it, you have to get the right shot.
People could dismiss it as crazy, but I think ultimately he's that committed to his job. Yeah. He cares that much about delivering in what is a very crowded marketplace today, an authentic experience for the audience, a kind of sense of wonder and thrill.
Cruise has also rewarded director Christopher McQuarrie for his ability to safely pull off these feats by handing over the keys to the Mission franchise, with McQuarrie directing the 5th and 6th film in the series, as well as the upcoming 7th and 8th. The 6th and most recent Mission film is the best reviewed and audience rated in the series. Fallout is fully committed to being one action set piece after another, in the streets of Paris, falling from the sky, and even in public bathrooms. But the most perilous stunt for Cruise required 2 years of helicopter training, with cameras rigged to the front that Cruise angled himself while flying to show that the actor was actually at the controls, and multiple helicopters flying alongside for coverage, all while capturing 360-degree corkscrew dives. But just flying a helicopter wouldn't be enough. To get into the helicopter, Cruise had to climb a rope after it had already taken off.
It was hard. You're the first person to ask me, climbing up that rope, that was hard. It's a rope climb, man.
Let's run down what we know about the next Mission films. Cruise and McQuarrie are bringing back Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, and Angela Bassett for films 7 and 8, along with newcomers to the franchise Haley Atwell, Pom Klementieff, Shea Wingham, and Isaiah Morales. And Cruise is already hyping up his new most dangerous stunt ever from film 7. Cruise teased a motorcycle jump off a cliff to Empire magazine, noting that the combination of Norse winds, a helicopter flying above, and only 6 seconds to pull his parachute made it, quote, the most dangerous stunt he's done. Writer-director McQuarrie shared a shot of the ramp, and it's a doozy. The 7th Mission Impossible film will be released in 2022 and the 8th in 2023. But what about after that?
I would never ask anyone. The kind of stuff that I've done has been things that I've cultivated, and to have someone to say you have to do this, that's like, yeah. I don't know if I could ask anyone to do that, even if they would want to do it and people think they want to do it, but once they start kind of doing it, they realize how challenging it is. And it's also, look, I've been doing this since I was a little kid, doing stuff like this, and I've been really working on systems on how to make it so that you can actually survive these things and create those. So it's something that, of course, my whole idea was that the franchise would always go on, but I just, it'd be nice,
I hope you make like 7 more.
Me too. You and me both. You and me both, and then I'll be like, okay.